Welcome to Project Time Warp. On today's video we compiled the top 10 bands who have been banned by the church. We hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the notification button to be updated to our newest video. Let's go. For going on 3 decades, Marilyn Manson has been the ultimate scapegoat for religious groups. The shock rocker's career is peppered with incidents of offended Christians trying to shut him down, including having his live show banned in South Carolina in 1997 and being banned from an Australia resort in 1999. Even the Church of Satan wants to be distanced from him. The all bigger than Jesus line caused an odd speed bump in the rampant Beatlemania of the early 60s. In 1966, 2 broadcasters from Birmingham, Alabama, named Doug Layton and Tommy Charles went on a hardcore ban the Beatles campaign over Lennon's blasphemous quote, causing record stores and radio stations around America to burn their Beatles records and ban the band. The beef was squashed in 2010 when the Vatican officially forgave the Beatles for their hubris. There was something about Slayer's brand of hard-hitting blood-soaked satanic thrash that freaked out religious figures in the 80s like no other music. Slayer fandom soon became the ultimate symbol of an adolescence gone wrong. Pastor Bob Larson led the charge, making a big show of touring with the band and outing them as everyday metalheads. But it wasn't just in America's sensitive midsection that the band were pariahs. Their 2006 album Christ Illusion was recalled by EMI India after Christian groups protested. It's good to know Slayer remain universally feared by sensitive Christians all over the world. Of the bands on this list, Behemoth are one of the few who have fired shots back at the church. The Polish death metal band's frontman Nergal was charged with blasphemy for ripping up a Bible on stage in 2007, for which he even went to trial. The charges were dropped. The band were later included on a list of bands who focus on murder and Satanism, which resulted in Behemoth being banned from Poznary in 2014. Of course, Nergal also trolled Christians and metal fans alike by making up a story about being ejected from the YMCA on tour, so the feud is still ongoing.
I still get fucking hell! Fuck yeah!
Lamb of God's being banned from playing a festival in Malaysia after the Office of Islamic Development of Malaysia became worried about the band's lyrics, specifically those of the Philadelphia intro, which contains lyrics taken directly from the Quran. The show was finally shut down because the band's shows were found to infringe on religious sensitivities, and because the promoter was receiving death threats. The original heavy metal rabble-rousers, Black Sabbath, were hated by religious authorities the minute they exploded onto the scene. The problem, of course, was that Sabbath weren't Satanists, and so their constant persecution felt especially plastic. There was one incident where we were due to play in a town and we got banned by the church, guitarist Tony Iommi recalled. The show was announced in all the papers for 2 weeks before we got there. The church managed to ban us. And then the bloody church burned down and we got the blame. One doesn't usually think of the Everly Brothers as the kind of band who the church would want to crush, but the pop-rock oldsters managed to get banned in Boston for their Lover's Lane anthem Wake Up Little Susie. The city's Catholics considered the song unseemly due to its sexual themes, even though the whole song is about two teens who didn't have sex. It's just a solid reminder that no matter how sensitive people get about music right now, back in the day you couldn't even talk about the idea of sex without Bible thumpers calling you a heathen. Oddly enough, for all their devil-mongering and perversion, it wasn't Cradle of Filth's lyrics or shirts that got them assailed by armed guards and kicked out of the Vatican. The Vampire Meddlers got in trouble in 1998 when they entered St. Peter's Square while their keyboard player Lecter was wearing a priest's outfit. Strangely enough, it wasn't because I was wearing a tacky I Love Satan t-shirt that I'd just been given, or that our guitarist had a Jesus is a cunt shirt, Danny Filth told Kerrang in 2019. It was that Lecter was dressed as a priest, and apparently that's illegal there. They're a law unto themselves, and they could have held us for the rest of our lives if they'd wanted to. Of all the metal bands in the world, Sepultura feel like a weird one to think that God would hate. The band have an open-minded spiritual bent to them that so many other acts don't. But that didn't stop their Lebanon show from being cancelled, with authorities accusing the band of insulting Christianity and being devil worshippers. The implied bigger issue, however, appears to have been that some members of the band had posed prominently in their videos around sites in Israel, which is reason to outlaw the band from entering the country. Bands with Israeli stamps in their passports cannot enter Lebanon, for the record. The only real victims here were, of course, Sepultura's fans. Greek Black and Death Metalers Rotting Christ certainly picked a name that sounds solely intended to upset religious figures. And while plenty of loudmouths have protested their shows, the Greek Orthodox monastery of Esformena really went all in, getting the band's concert in Patras, Greece, cancelled due to their offensive and satanic messages. Taking the accusation one step further, the monastery even implied that Rotting Christ's unholy image was part of why Greece was facing a socio-economic crisis. The reference for this video is from www.kerrang.com/10bands who have been banned by the church. Please subscribe to our channel and ring the notification button for more videos like this. See you next time.